They say 3 only put it. So I cannot go, yeah, yeah, I cannot go, yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna add my 2 cents because I wasn't here on the day that y'all talked about it. I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go. Now, he had a bad night the first time that he went out and debated with Kamala Harris. And everybody wanted him to quit that and say, you can't talk to women like this, or you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. He came back, said, you know what, I got it, and gave 4 years. So, yeah, I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine. Now, I'm not running the world, but I don't know anybody who doesn't step in stuff at some point. So I'm just simply saying, yeah, there are 2 debates. And if he can't do what he needs to do for the second debate, I'll join any crew that says get rid of him. But loyalty to me, if you are doing the job, I might not like everything you're doing. I don't like it all. But I'm going to stand behind you like those guys stand behind the guy who should have been the person people were talking about saying, yeah, Biden had a bad day, but this guy couldn't tell the truth if it split his lip. But nobody said that, but Anna said that, I believe, or something. She's not quite as colorful as I am. But the question now...
Give me a chance.
The question now is, because lots of Democrats are coming out saying, you know, oh, find somebody else. But when we tried to do that with DT, this is my new way of just describing him. When we said, listen, he shouldn't be on the ballot. Everybody said, no, no, no. The people chose him. We can't take him off the ballot. Well, I don't understand why anybody thinks it's going to be any easier to take Biden off the ballot.
This country is doomed.
Have been on a hysterical rampage.
Boy.
It's been a bad week for liberal women on TV. Meghan McCain rips The View for liberal bias as co-host lashes out at voters over Trump's victory. Pretty interesting, Meghan McCain was on The View and she posted, "It is actual malfeasance on the part of ABC News that there isn't a single conservative on The View this morning who voted for Trump simply isn't repulsed by his supporters in America." She posted on X. McCain, who used to be the lone conservative, I mean, if you could even, call her that, I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, did she vote vote for Trump? Look at this. But I gotta tell you, I reposted this. You're right. Like, way to go in. Meghan McCain was on The View for years. Respectfully, please stop sending me clips of you. It's a radical, progressive, insane asylum, and that is why I left years ago. You know what? Good job telling the truth, lady.
The View is terrible.
Good job.
They're just full of hate.
It's crazy. Meghan McCain has been spitting some fire, actually. For all the talk about elevating people to positions of power on the left, it's Trump who just named the first ever woman White House chief of staff. Gonna be any girl bosses articles about her? I love the gloves off. Meghan McCain. Yeah, The View has been literally melting down, having to apologize actually on air for calling white women uneducated, unpacking Donald Trump's victory.
That's crazy.
You having Sunny Hosen, of course, who should not be allowed on TV.
She should.
Because she is a vicious and vile racist.
She is rude.
I can prove that, actually. I can prove it. Before I play the novels, just very important bit of history here. So it's this lady on The View named Sunny Hosen who was so enraged that Donald Trump was talking about Kamala Harris's heritage. Yet she made fun of Nikki Haley's heritage.
Yep.
So it really doesn't matter if somebody does that. It just matters what party they represent. These are kind of like vicious sociopaths that you cannot have on the program. At the very least, be intellectually consistent. We're intellectually consistent on this show. I think I go hard. Dude, I go hard against Paul Ryan, Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, Republicans.
Yep. We all do.
Just because you have a Republican at the end of your name, that actually holds you to a higher standard because it hurts more when you betray your party and your principles.
Yep.
So yeah, we go after plenty of Republicans. Find me a clip of Sunny Hosen or any View lady criticizing a Democrat. Find me a single clip of that.
Don't do it.
Haley's gone by Nikki since she was a child. It's documented in high school. I wouldn't be shocked that as somebody, an Indian woman growing up in South Carolina at that time, she actually did to avoid prejudice. So I just want to be careful about critiquing. There's
some of us that can be chameleons and decide not to embrace our ethnicity so that we can pass the necessary. You know, I think if she leaned into
people don't go by their color.
I think to question someone's racial identity, especially him, the bar has fallen so low.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just take this View off the air. Okay.
They need to be gone.
Sunny Hosen blames uneducated white women for costing Harris a win. Just insulting. A lot of times willfully refuse to accept that people are more complicated than their race and sex. Makes us dumber. Why did uneducated white women vote against the reproductive freedom, Sunny asked? Wrong question. People are tired of being told that there are mutable characteristics to obligate them to vote for you. Tired of being told they're too dumb to know what's going on before that. The View should be taken off the air. Here we go.
I want to dig further into the demographics because black women tried to save this country again last night. 92% of black women voted for the vice president. You have Latinas in the 70th percentile voting for the vice president. What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men actually voting more for him.
And that's the reason why, I mean, like, this show needs to be taken off air. And that's the reason why I told y'all at the beginning that it's been called that they trying to get this show off air. Like, this right here is crazy. So just because it's white women that didn't vote for Kamala Harris, because they don't like her policy, she didn't explain anything. Every question they asked her, I grew up in the middle. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. She was given the same answer every single time. And just because white women voted for Donald Trump, that makes them uneducated. And then now the Democrats see the reason why nobody wanted to vote for them. This is what they do. They talk about people, but they want them same exact people to vote for them though. I grew up in the middle class. That's the only thing Kamala Harris can say. She didn't answer anything. And you expect the people to just vote for her?
My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made, but I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest. If the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will, I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult, but boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah. Well, sentiments, Joy, one of the first things I wanted to say for anyone that needs an example of when the person you voted for does not win, you do not say the system must be broken or that it was rigged. You say it is what it is, and you show up anyway. And I want to commend all those people that voted, because you sometimes hear people say, well, it didn't matter. No, it did matter. That was still your currency, that was still your power, and people turned out. Now, if you didn't vote, you really don't have a say in the conversation, so you can go ahead and sit down. But for the rest of you, and then a lot of what I think about is what I always tell my kids when things go on. You feel what you feel. Everyone has different emotions. Some people got what they wanted. A lot of people didn't. And you feel anything that comes up, and then you turn around and you say, let's look at the tapes. Let's see what we did. Let's see how we continue to fight for the people that we care about. And you take one step in front of the other. And so here we are today, and I still feel that optimistic because I feel arm in arm with so many people who agree with me. And I'm not going to stop marching. So
I like this pep talk, Coach Haynes. Is it the outcome I wanted? No, but we live in a democracy. I have my vote. Millions of people cast their votes did. And what's important to me is this. Tens of millions of Americans, our friends, our neighbors, our family members, voted for Donald Trump. We disagree with him. I know we all do at this table, but they are good, decent people who are patriots and love this country. And I can't speak to what drove them to the conclusion of being with him, but I think it is a moment for us to listen to each other, to hear each other, express what our concerns are. I've spent the last 4 years doing that, and also listen to people who are with him, because this is a country that there is truly more that unites us than divides us. I know it doesn't feel like that for many people in this moment, but we need to bring down the temperature, the name calling, the demonizing. Let the other side, if they want to do that, they can do it. But I think it is a moment to listen to the voters. And this, I have to say, I've always thought he could win. I thought in the final stretch he might eke it out. I didn't expect it to be this resounding, and I think there are some lessons from it. I think we forget about rural America. I think the working class feels left behind. They feel like the powerful, the elite only care about them and their power. And he spoke to them. We may not have liked his words, but they turned out for him. I mean, the map was, it was beyond Reagan what we saw last night. And I think we need to start listening more about the concerns of everyday Americans who feel like this system is failing.
When Reagan won, I remember the whole map was red.
Yeah.
It was pretty red last night.
I don't know. I'm profoundly disturbed. I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was America makes a perilous choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from the Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country. Because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons. And so that box better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised as a woman of color I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country.
At first, when Kamala was running the election, you were black.
I think this was a referendum of
now you mixed.
Cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think
This is.
I think it has to do with a lot of things, that being one of them. I'm obviously very disappointed. I'm very sad. I was at the Kamala Harris headquarters yesterday in Washington, and it was a very sad scene. The mood turned immediately, and I tell you, there's a quote I get a lot of inspiration from, and it's a quote that I read when I was reading about John F. Kennedy, and it says, "Whether I am on the winning or the losing side is not the point with me. It is being on the side where my sympathies lie that matters." And that to me brought me consolation and inspiration this morning.
That's when the Democrats had some sense.
I worked hard as hell to elect the first Black Asian woman president. History slipped through our fingers again. I worked hard as hell for Donald Trump not to be president. But today, unlike Donald Trump and his followers, I acknowledge that he won. I hope for the best for our country, and I make a commitment to our LGBTQ, to our immigrants, to our elderly, to our young girls, to the women, that we will not stop fighting. We can be sad today. Today we can be sad. Tomorrow we stand up and we continue. We have every right as Americans, because we love this country, because this is the most exceptional country in the world, we have the right and the duty to speak up and denounce abuses of power, to be vigilant. And so I invite all Americans to do it. But we are doing what they didn't do. We are recognizing they won. Now let's see what happens when he is governor.
So,
y'all crying? What y'all doing now? Crying?
We said to people, vote. We didn't tell people who to vote for.
Right.
We just said go out and vote. Well, yes, but I did not.
Yeah, I do.
Because I wanted to make sure people exercise that right. Too many people that I know
Whoopi, you a flip-flopper.
trying to vote.
Yeah.
Okay? So we start with that. And think about this. She did this in 2 months.
Yeah, no.
She did this in 2 months.
She didn't do nothing.
You know, but she, you know, everybody can.
She didn't do jack diddly squat.
She should have done this. She did what she did. She was everywhere. She talked to everybody, and people didn't come out. I don't know why, and it doesn't even matter. He's now the president. I'm still not gonna say his name. That's not gonna say it.
I think that some good, decent people are going to work for him. I've heard from some folks today. I think there's some reasons to be hopeful that people who believe in public service in the country are going to vote.
The thing that I wanted to finish up with is it's hard for some of us to hear that rhetoric after 50 years, you know, after 70 years, to hear that rhetoric coming back, to hear things that came out of people's mouths that we all decided as a public group we weren't going to talk to each other that way.
Yeah.
So for me, when I hear that, I feel okay when I'm pissed at somebody who's talking down to somebody else. I'm all right with that. Mm-hmm. What I'm not all right with is trying to further wreck the country.
They're so ungrateful. You'd think that of all people, they'd be happy that America elected a man that can help bring down the cost of food. What did you make of the reaction?
The fact that they couldn't think, even acknowledge that maybe she did something wrong, even though one of the biggest mistakes of her campaign was on that show, when she couldn't think of a single thing that was different about her and Biden, that happened right in front of them, and they still just. Yeah. I mean, they need to get out and meet someone who has one different opinion from them. I think that'd be very helpful to them in their personal lives and also for the quality of the programming.
Loftus, did you wake up early to watch The View like I did?
I couldn't go to bed last night. Just waiting. What is The View gonna say?
Exactly.
I don't watch The View, and just the amount of drama coming off that clip is too much.
Yeah.
What are these chicks like in real life? Like, there's not even a problem to complain about yet. But they're like, oh, I was hoping the 14th Amendment would have stopped him. What shall we do? When I go to the dry cleaner come tomorrow, I can't look him in the face. No, I shan't say his name.
I don't know what they're British, but it works, Tyrus.
Welcome to the, it's the British view.
That would make it dumber. I'm gonna say, I don't care. TV land's not gonna hear it, but all their hair looked like they all were doing the walk of shame. Like the only thing Sunny was missing while she was talking with her shower flat hair, because dude didn't have suave, was a pair of high heels walking down the hallway with guys like me going, oh, shit, sorry. And they all did the walk of shame. That's what they all did. But I do owe a debt of gratitude. Hannity has the footballs. We need a game ball, because the game ball to this election goes to Sunny Holston. Because if it wasn't for her asking that question that she practiced so many times and she was so professional when she read it for a little, so is there anything that you would do differently than Biden? And the drunkest answer ever, no, nothing really comes to mind. And then I said, this is over.
Yeah. Charlie.
And I was right.
Charlie, do you love Joy Behar going like, I felt this way about Nixon? It was like some old lady in a pub. Yeah, remember Nixon? Yeah. Nixon. Like, who is it? Were you even born then?
She's bringing some history. I think that's helpful. But you mock it all you want, but I guarantee you that episode today is the highest rated view in the history of the show. I personally know like 500 people who tuned in today just to watch this today.
Yeah. You want to see the car crash.
Yeah, you know what? Trump should win every day to help them have a successful show. Her laugh makes ears.
This morning, so we'll find out. I'm sure we'll see that on the 5 as well. But take a look at what they said. This is call for number 3. This is back on October 8th.
Please welcome back the next president of the United States.
I think it's going to be a blowout, actually. I don't think it's going to be a close race. I think there are going to be those Republicans that just vote for Harris.
There's a swing and a miss, Kellyanne.
Well, they will, and they'll probably just insult Americans for making this choice and calling us misinformed and misaligned, and worse, deplorable, irredeemable, garbage, you name it. That matters to people, Dana, because this is the election where people are not voting just according to their race, their age, their socioeconomic status, their zip code, certainly not their gender. They did not have this big blowout with women last night. I think when all the final numbers came in, a couple things. You talk about The View. I want to say something. The repudiation of the mainstream media and their polling, by the way, including this last weekend when so many of them were trying to use their polls and a percentage point and empirical data to sit on the scales and say, wait, she's having a resurgence and momentum swinging. It's a repudiation. Everybody should go back and read Jeff Bezos' op-ed in the Washington Post explaining why they no longer will endorse for president, and talking about, who is the mainstream media now? You have a lower approval rating basically than Congress, certainly than the presidency. I think it's a vindication of everybody who for 10 years has taken it on the chin, being made fun of just because of their political preferences. And just because they're telling pollsters, including Fox News pollsters, immigration, inflation, this wasn't difficult to figure out. When people tell you what's important to them, you don't turn around and say, with your finger in their face, that's not true, this is more important to you. I'd like to thank the ladies of The View. I think they helped Donald Trump. Thank you very much for asking Kamala Harris such simple, easy questions that she couldn't answer. And it was on The View on October 8th where she said, I can't think of a single thing that I would do differently than Joe Biden, all the while saying I'm not Joe Biden.
A few more sound bites, some of the reaction we're getting from across the media platform right now.
I've got to say, this is the biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory in 1984.
The inevitability of this actually looks as if it was there.
This was a sweeping victory, and he comes back to Washington, Michael, more powerful than when he was here before.
So on that last point, gauge his strength at the beginning of a second term. Howard Lutnick, phenomenal human being, phenomenal American. Runs a firm in New York called Cantor Fitzgerald. He lost 658 employees on 9/11. He's running the transition team for Trump, and he's been out there trying to find thousands of employees who can go to Washington, but who support Trump's policies, as opposed to 8 years ago. And you wonder what kind of a head start could he have now, or how would he perhaps make decisions differently at the beginning of his term as compared to January of 2000.
Well, I'm very pleased that Howard Lutnick and Linda McMahon are the co-chairs for transition, because Linda at AFPI has been focused on the policy. I talked to her. Howard Lutnick, I've talked to him, focused on the personnel. There's so many great men and women who do want to serve. And the idea that Donald Trump now has the 4 years experience at 1600 Pennsylvania to know what works and what doesn't work and what you need to fill those roles, I think is tremendously helpful. I feel like Kamala Harris wasn't able to complete that sale. She wasn't able to say, I'm here now, I know what it takes. Give me 4 more of X, Y, and Z. They've already got great men and women from across this country saying, put me in, coach. I want to serve. And I think when you get a big second chance like Donald Trump has, and you see this big red sweep in terms of every single state in this country went more red except Nebraska and Delaware this morning. That's unbelievable when you think about it. He's looking at winning the popular vote. That you say, I've got a mandate, but I have to keep it humble. And I think he's going to work with an alacrity and urgency to pick up where he left off, Bill and Dana. That energy independence, do a couple of executive orders on the border, what you can do on the economy, what you could do on some other regulations certainly, and then work with Congress where, yes, the Republicans will have a majority in the Senate. They are expected to have a very slim majority in the House and get things done legislatively. I want to ask my Democratic friends, who among you will cross over? Who among you will say, in my state, in my congressional district, people have benefited from these policies on affordability, security, energy, education, school choice, big issue in Pennsylvania, where J.D. Vance was going to African American churches, where parents and grandparents were mobilizing.